Alright, I meant to actually record a minute ago. You look in there, I've got everything cleaned up royally. It's always nice to weld clean metal. Welds a lot better than that right there. So clean all your metal up like that and it'll weld a lot better. These are actually going to be coming out. We got new pieces of metal going there too, because these are just paper thin, screwed. And then we've ground everything flat inside and out. We got a good clean surface all the way along there. One last thing, I'm probably going to be hitting this with a quick brush with a grinder just along the edges. I want to kind of keep some coating on that metal to keep from rusting in the future. Other than that, on to the next step. We'll keep on pushing, keep on watching, I'll keep on filming, and these will be our next segments. And these go on the outsides at the bottoms of the doors, where these ones are definitely ruined at. But you want to do it one piece at a time, because if you don't, then what you'll be dealing with is a giant puzzle. So one piece at a time, put it in, tack weld it, just get everything locked in, and it'll go a lot smoother for you. All right, welcome back here under Keith Entertainment. Anyway, we are prepping everything up. We've got this new floor pan simply tacked in. You don't want to weld it all at once or you warp the thing. Bottom sides is welded. We're working our way around. Got everything cleaned up, because I'm going to cut those pans out as well, the front ones, and fill that in. I want a nice square line all the way across. And once we get that all tapped in, then I'm going to proceed hit the side ones under the doors after this main floor pan's in. I don't want to weaken everything. I'm actually probably going to weld a couple metal tacked pieces just to support the body from folding for the moment. But as I was just saying, we're going to go ahead and plasma this out, get this all set up. I'll resume video, and piece by piece. After all this is done, I'm actually going to send it to the sandblaster. We're going to do a fine clean, throw it on a frame rotisserie, and just do it right, man. So keep on watching. I'll keep on filming. There you go. All right, we have now cut out the floor in one big chunk, and I like to leave a little edge on this, because final product, I want to make it real strong. We'll sand that all down, blend it into these ribs will kind of smooth in, and I'll show you that in the next piece here. And even on these new pans, clean all your metal, man. This will definitely weld a lot cleaner. End result, a lot less burn through. There's the piece we cut out, all one section, and that thing is horrible. But basically, we're going to take new flat stock and rebuild all this, and you'll see in a minute. And like I said, just leave yourself little edges and whatnot to work with, and we'll get all this welded in. Don't concentrate on welding from one end to the other. You need to kind of work yourself around, tack, 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 like I did on this piece. That way you don't warp it and it don't do nothing funny. Just get everything in place before you really buzz it. And I haven't touched these sides yet, because we'll be putting these on in a minute. But you don't want to tear it all apart at the same time, or you really screw yourself on welding measurements and everything else. Well, bear with me. I'll get this next piece in, and we'll keep going. All right, now we're a little farther, and slowly piecing everything in, getting it all built. Kind of move around as you do it, that way you don't overheat stuff. And this will require a good deep ground to smooth it up and make it look factory. But there'll be quite a bit more, and I'll keep on filming, keep on watching. All right, we've had a brief break. We have now just clipped this side out, or below the door. We're gonna get rid of all this rust, eat into it. I think it'll be okay. It seems all right, just surface. If it were any deeper, I'd probably say no and replace that too. Here's our new section. There's our old beat up one. And we simply just cut the heck out of it, grinded these edges on the front and the backs of the door. The bottom, I snipped along. There's about 1 million spot welds in it, so I was able to cut it, and I'm simply gonna grind it out here. And whatever's good, I'll leave in, because honestly, it'll be a reinforcement, but it's all gotta be clean. And then once we're done, I'm gonna throw a coat of primer in there, or Rust-Oleum, something to keep it coated. Yeah, just to keep it coated. And do the best you can. It'd be a lot of little tack welding, so we don't want to get it real hot, burn up the paint, nor warp the work that we're doing right now. This bar here simply is just to keep everything square while we work with this. It's just tacked in. And it was all squared. It's on jack stands. We got it as level as we can have it, and I'm going to remeasure everything when I'm done doing so. So I'm going to start putting this piece in after I clean that up, and we'll resume video. All right, back at it. We just mounted our first panel under the door. Got everything lined up, looking tight and right, and got everything bent the way it came off. This one I'm gonna have to play with a little bit, because this had some damage to this and the piece before. Now this over here is the one that we're pulling off, and I always try to leave one on for a reference point, so you can see how the metal overlaps on one side and right there, and also underneath. If you look, let me zoom in there or something. There you go. But that's how it be. Get that all knocked out, work on the other side too, get both of these done. All right, on to the next. We've got both these lower pieces popped in under the doors. Oh my mess, I'm messy. Anyway, we got to do some grinding, a little touch up, whatnot. But we got her there, everything's in place. It is primered underneath for the bare metal, but of course on the welds it's going to heat up, burn that metal out. So we got a couple places that you can try to maybe spray in after the fact, get those protected. Next piece, we'll be putting this guy in. I know it looks like it goes on the other side, but it actually goes here. We separate the metal right there, and what you do is, if you look at it, it's got some divots from spot welding. Take a bigger drill, pop all those out. You just got to drill a bunch of holes. After that, a couple smacks with a hammer. Normally it breaks free. You've got some along this edge too. And we're gonna straighten this edge out. Metal's not bad, it's just bent, probably from bigger tires being put on. We might give this a slight clean inside, just to open it up and expose anything I might not be seeing for a shot. I'm gonna go ahead and start doing all this, and then yeah, keep on watching, and I'll show you how it all goes back together. All right, back at our tremendous project. Woo! And anyway, all them little drill things I was talking about, the spot welds, I go through and I hit them with a small bit, then I come behind them and hit them with like a 1/2 inch. And I try to only penetrate the first layer of the metal when I do this. That way you got more to tack to when you get the new panel on. If you go too deep, it happens. Don't worry about it. It can be fixed. Most of this will be hidden anyway. But it is nice to have the good welds and support and everything when you reconnect that new one on. It doesn't have any of that holes or anything to it, so I tack them from the back side. Just make sure you use a lot of clamps to pinch edges, and you'll pretty much be good. Have trust in me, Daniel-san. There you go. I'll get this thing the rest of the way off and show you what happened here. All right, back at it. We just got the inner pieces of metal removed. There's the old one with all the holes. You have to simply just pry it apart, pop it off there. And this piece was rotten, so I think I'm going to go ahead and replace that with new metal. It actually went right here, but it was so shot, I'd rather just get a new metal. But anyway, this is some of our story. There's the new one. We're going to go ahead and put that all in place, tack it. Be careful lining this up. Nothing is going to be in line. So you might have to move your fenders or your core support. This core support's actually getting replaced, but I leave it there for a reference point as well as everything I can. But that's what it be. All right, now that we're back at it, we got most of the panels on. A little more welding than what I was actually originally going to do. All right, here we go once again. We got a lot of this tacked on, actually quite a bit more tacking than I would normally suggest, but with the holes that were welded, there was just so many of them. This thing was built for tough, literally. Ah! There you go, my evidence, fellas. There you go. We welded on some new little pieces right here, this whole little square patch, and that's supposed to be detachable, stick to the body and not to the connecting piece of the core support, the inner fender well, whatever you want to call it. We did not weld the core support because I am going to leave that loose till I get the motor, everything mocked up, ready to go, make sure it fits all right. These back quarters are getting replaced as well, and we're doing actually a full piece with the corner pillar. It's pretty fancy. I can't say I've used those ones before. Seamless, doesn't have the body line right there in the middle of our screen, and I'll kind of keep that up to par, and we're going to try to use a sealant, whatnot, finish doing some of these. I'm going to play with that a little bit more along those. I'd like them a little more square. I don't like exactly how that ended up, but this thing is a little different than most of the floor pans I've done before as far as the spacing and whatnot in there. So long story short, I'm going to redo the upper end of that. I want this looking full factory, so bear with me and I'll keep taping. All right, as we proceed a little bit farther, straightened up some edges, re-welded some stuff, kind of working with the floor pan here. Kind of did a second piece as far as adding to it, trying to get a complete flat. We got to do a little touch-up welding on these slight little spottings right here. We'll just barely tap that with a welder, grind it, sand it, clean it up, make it look flat. It's honestly probably something primer would fill. Those are good. As we walk around, we got a lot of the little minor stuff now done. Lower kicks on. Everything kind of, I didn't have to weld that, but I wanted it to look damn good. Kind of pick your poison on what you do with them. And that's what it is. All right, we're back at it. And we got our frame set up. Fixed some of the shack mounting pieces, and just kind of simply starting to lay out some parts and whatnot. All the spindles, all the hardware, the upgraded kit, new coils, track bars, steering stuff. Everything will be on point. Yeah, we got a pile of parts and I'm not done yet. But we'll put it all together slowly. And this will be disassembled after we put it together. This is just a test fit for everything. So here we go. Bear with me. On to the next section of the video. All right, back at her. We are slowly getting all the arms, shocks, everything put back together. We're going to get the steering box on. We're going to simply assemble it, make sure everything fits correctly, and then tear it back down. Sandblast, powder coat, all the good stuff. Just want to make sure everything is lining up, fits right. All new bushings and everything on everything as well. And this is simply just our quick put together, and then we'll tear it back down again. On to the next segment. My camera's not focusing so well. About time for a new phone. Long story short, got our axles all busted apart, gutting everything. We're actually going to send these ones off for the rebuild. Just prepping them up, got everything getting clean. The better you can clean them, the better job they'll do. So here we be. We'll go ahead and continue on to the next section. Get some more footage in a minute. All right, on to the next piece, next segment, whatever you want to call it. I had the video right before we were breaking these down, and we got them all broke down, hubs busted apart, everything bagged up. I like to keep everything together, labeled. That way we know what we're working with when we put it all back together. Take lots of pictures. Not dick pics either. But yeah, these are going off probably today to the rebuilder. Some things like this are faster to let someone else with the right equipment do. Not that we don't have the knowledge, but that's faster when you're doing multiple vehicles. But there they are. They're ready to go, cleaned up, ready for paint. Ship them off. Have another video when we come back. All right, back on our Bronco. We've got our new steering box opposed to the old one. And I actually welded on a whole new plate. Our frame was slightly cracked between these two holes, which is common on some steering boxes, but we welded that, grinded it, nice good hot penetration, and wrapped it all the way around to the other side. And while it's hot, you can hammer away on it. It'll bend nicely. So anyway, we'll be using that hole and those back two, and we'll be remounted with new metal on our steering box. And after full assembly, this will be disassembling the whole thing again. And we just want to make sure we got every hole in for powder coat. That way we're not going to infringe on making mistakes here. All right, once again, back at it, next stage of this. We got our steering box mounted up, everything. I got a new metal right there, welded and wrapped around. Frame had the slightest little crack between those two bolts, but wanted the reinforcement. Got all brand new bushings and whatnot on our front axle, painted up, cleaned up, and fully rebuilt. We just got those back, and I meant to take a video before I installed them. All brand new hardware, putting our discs, calipers, and the whole nine on, mounting our shocks, and we're just going to keep pushing forward on this, fellas. Good morning, good morning. Welcome back, YouTube. We are back on the Bronco project. Simply getting the axles bolted on, starting to get some of the suspension and everything else reassembled. And we're going to keep going. All right. Usual. Back on it. Putting on calipers. Setting everything up. And this is just kind of a prior assembly to make sure everything works, fits right, and all that before we sandblast, powder coat the frame. We want a full assembly and then break it down one more time. Reassemble it one more time. So we'll just keep you posted as I pop things together here. We'll continue on. All right, boys, as usual, these came back from getting rebuilt. Once you line up the calipers, bear with me, hold on real quick. Long story short, when doing these brake kits, if you look at this right here, that black piece needs to go in about a ½ inch and sit right here where my finger's at. So right there, those things right there, the spacers, we've actually got some other spacers that are shorter, about a ½ inch shorter, which should line us up right where we need to be on this Bronco. Well, bear with me. I am tearing apart the other side right now. We're just simply gonna unbolt this, and the lowest, and replace these spacers right here with these spacers right here. That'll move this in just a little bit, both sides, and then it should slap right on. Backyard boogie oogie. We just got our pumped up 302. If I am right, this is a 306. Got some nice goodies right here. We'll be slapping this in. It just showed up in the mail. Would you believe that this fit in a small envelope? No, it did not. I wish my camera did. I'll be getting a new phone next week. All right, so blurry. Let me see if I can switch this up a little bit. Okay, that's a little better. But anyway, there's our brand new motor. We'll be slapping her on the engine stand for the 73 Ford Bronco. Looking good on our progress here. Got a lot of this back together. E-brake cables, mounting some of the different bars and stuff. And I know I'm slapping this together and the frame's still all ugly. we're just test fitting, make sure everything's welded in, brackets, brake line mounts, brake lines are pre-set up, everything, so we don't have to drill any more holes or weld anymore, because this is going to be getting sandblasted and powder coated. We want to make sure everything fits. And I'm going to check and see what we got for motor mounts, whatnot. If I can place this thing in there. We got a brand new tranny, transfer case, the whole 9 coming. So stay with me. I'll keep you up to date. All right, I'm old, I'm beat, and I'm out of energy. Done drank 16 Monsters. I think I had 3 heart attacks today. Anyway, we got our motors kind of set up. Snipers on top, distributor set up. Headers are on, just lightly. I just softly put everything together. Got to have a test fit. We got to get a flex plate, flywheel, whatever. Down to the spark plug, little venting pieces and whatnot. Put our track bar on, which we actually had to put this custom mount that came in the kit on. But this head right here, I actually had to cut and re-weld because the angle was way off. Didn't fit. And I know it goes this way because of the spacing of the pumpkin. The angle of this. And this side's way larger than that side. So there it be. We're getting this thing together. Tomorrow we're putting in the gas tank. Alright, we just custom made the gas tank work. Welded on some new bracketry I'm going to button up on the bottom. Getting this thing all put back together. Bear with me, we'll make some more footage in a minute.